No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Seriously, people, I gotta ask a question, and we gotta get to the bottom of this because it's been eating at me, and as time has continued to go on, it's more so just been driving me a little bonkers in terms of what the heck happened with One Punch Man. Now, I was recently reminded that, oh snap, One Punch Man is still a thing, and there's still a fan base at the very least supporting it after I saw the top 5 franchises from TV Tokyo, and One Punch Man happened to creep in at the very bottom at top 5, and I was like, okay, so One Punch Man is still actually making some waves, but in terms of comparing it to what it once was, One Punch Man has really seen a fall from grace in the eyes of the mainstream and in terms of popularity, because I'll never forget, let's rewind all the way back to 2015 when One Punch Man's first episode dropped. It wasn't even officially released when it came out on the internet. It actually leaked out from like a convention. I want to say that they had premiered it, and it was like not necessarily the finalized version, but damn near, and the episode was insane. Everybody went crazy, like holy cow, like we did not expect that, because initially when we heard about a One Punch Man adaptation, a lot of people were like, well, it's not really a serious show, and you know, the art wasn't all that impressive from the one web comic, so a lot of people were just like, it might be cool, you know, we'll see what happens. It was at that time My Hero Academia was also trying to take off, and it was like, okay, superheroes are coming to Japan now. We got My Hero, now we got this One Punch Man thing, let's see how it goes. And when that episode leaked out and dropped, the internet went wild, and everybody was like, oh, okay, we're entering a new age, because that was around the time, those 2 to 3 years where anime started to change and become a little bit more mainstream. At the very least, it was making strides and making waves into that arena with Attack on Titan 2013, Tokyo Ghoul 2014, then 2015, One Punch Man came in with one glorious punch swinging into the mainstream, and that season in general was very, very impactful. In fact, I'm having the thought right now, I wouldn't mind rewatching that season. I probably will, actually, because it's 12 very fun, entertaining episodes. It was something that everybody could enjoy. If you're an anime manga fan, of course, it has all of the charm that a really cool and dope anime story has, but at the same time, it also had certain elements of, like, it feels episodic in the beginning, because it's kind of like just, hey, this guy that he's a overpowered superhero, and he lost the joy in being a superhero because he's just so damn strong. So you're having a couple of different bouts, and then you're getting the introduction to all these really cool characters, because One Punch Man, that's one of the charms of it as well, is that while the main character, he's so OP, everybody around him is actually having a real journey. Like, if you take out Saitama, first of all, it's not One Punch Man anymore, but also it kind of goes grounded more into a realistic story where it would probably be Genos, I'm guessing, would be like the MC of One Punch Man without Saitama. But nevertheless, you have a really awesome cast, Genos, Tornado, all of these really cool characters that slowly get introduced in season 1, and just in general, it was very impactful. I remember just having a great time each and every week. I was like, oh snap, Carnage, Kabuto, holy cow, everything was just up and up. Not to mention Moomin Rider, oh my god, like there was a lot of charm to so many different aspects of this series, and it became a very huge deal. For 2015, I would argue that probably One Punch Man was hands down the most popular series of that year. You could argue, well, Dragon Ball Super started that year, but it didn't really take off in 2015, and My Hero had just started. I want to say like the first season was getting ready to drop the next year, so it didn't really have its wings at that point either. It was like, yo, 2015, One Punch Man, Madhouse once again strikes after having that glorious run of Hunter x Hunter from 2011 through 2014. Madhouse is back at it again. Boom, which ironically in the subsequent years following One Punch Man, Madhouse hasn't really been the same. They have a show here or there, but yeah, One Punch Man was one of, if not the last, hurrahs for Madhouse. I can't really remember of anything else that was just significant or as of importance as One Punch Man was when it first came out. But like every other tale of a fall from grace, One Punch Man, following that, it was really, really bad off. And what I mean by that is in terms of like 2015, it was hype. And then after that, everybody each and every year was like, oh my god, we can't wait for more. 2016 happened, no One Punch Man. 2017, hey, the bald hero, Baldy, no. 2018, yo, it gotta happen this year, no doubt. Oh snap, no. And then 2019, it finally was making a return. However, there was several different changes, and these changes I feel was the beginning of the end in terms of the detriment to the legacy or the reputation within the mainstream. Again, a lot of people know that at the end of the day, it's always like, probably better off with the manga. 9 times out of 10 when it comes to an anime and manga, you're probably better off with the manga. You're not going to have the hiccups that you have with the anime, with the manga, but that's a different story. We're talking about the mainstream consciousness at this point. Because due to whatever was going on at Madhouse and the fact that they've normally been notorious for only handling series that have like one season, like Madhouse will give you 12 episodes or 24 episodes and then they wipe their hands with you. But the fact that they wanted to do another season, the production committee or the people behind it, Shueisha, all that jazz of One Punch Man, they were like, all right, well, we're not doing it, fam. Y'all make sure y'all take care of that shit somewhere else. So One Punch Man, for its second season, following a massive 4-year delay in between, when usually like ideally you want a season every year at the very least, in between like 2 years, like you don't want to just continuously wait. But after already a long 4-year gap in between, and a lot of people went on to just go read the one version, the web comic of it, which I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those people. I'll never forget. I want to say it was like Christmas of 2016, maybe around there, that I just spent the entirety of the night like reading the one comic, and I was like, this is so freaking amazing, even though the art is terrible, but the story is so awesome, and I love One Punch Man. But with One Punch Man returning for its second season, JC Staff took over production, and upon that first trailer, I feel like that's when I knew, oh, One Punch Man is never going to recover from this. Like, people aren't going to feel the same way about this story moving forward, because the production definitely wasn't on the same level as season 1. Season 1 was just a different breed, man. The art and animation, the way it was just produced all together, it was something else. Season 2 of One Punch Man with JC Staff, I would commend them at the very least for their efforts, because I feel like season 2, after a while, I got around to it. I want to say I watched it like probably 2020, somewhere mid 2020 when it came out on Blu-ray over here in the States. Like, I actually ended up watching it because it was like to that point where I can't do this, man. I ain't gonna lie, I can't do this. When I first saw the first trailer and I was like, man, it's such a dip. What happened? That was one of the selling points that really got people hooked in to begin with, of like, this show looks gorgeous and it has so much awesome stuff to its story, comedy, everything you would need. And then when you get to season 2, it just wasn't quite to that level. Now, in retrospect, I feel like a lot of us, including myself, initially were a bit harsh with it, because when I went back and I marathoned the whole thing, I was like, well, the production isn't that much of a downgrade. Like, if season 1 was, let's just say, a 10 out of 10, I would give JC Staff a solid 7.5 to an 8 in terms of production, which, granted, yeah, from a 10 to an 8, that's a big dip, but it's still pretty freaking awesome. And at the end of the day, One Punch Man itself, the story, the characters that you love, is all there, and it was still fine. But because One Punch Man was sold on being just this epic, beautiful show, fine really wasn't going to cut it. And that's where One Punch Man, I feel like we've had the fall from grace, because JC Staff season 2 just didn't grab people's attention. And even though we had the hero hunter, the hero killer, whatever he's called, what is he called? The hero hunter, Garo, who was somebody that I was really looking forward to seeing in the anime, even that wasn't enough to really grab people's attention. I feel like season 2 was what was not necessarily the nail in the coffin, because there's still a massive fan base. Obviously, if it's doing top 5 in Japan's TV Tokyo broadcasting, then it does have enough of a fan base. But I feel like if we would have kept on with what Madhouse produced in season 1, we would still be top tier, because right now, the manga, every single time I hear about a chapter coming out, everybody's going crazy. The internet lights up. I'm seeing when people talk about it in review videos, they're going through the roof, and just in general, it sounds like the manga is freaking incredible. I ain't gonna lie, where I'm at right now in One Punch Man, I'm where season 2 of the anime left off. In fact, I want to say that was chapter 82 of the serialized version of the manga. That's where I've been, but there are so many more chapters. I want to say there's currently 148 chapters of One Punch Man, so there's more than enough content to do another adaptation, because yeah, we're only at 82 where we left off, with Garo being carried away at the end of season 2. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I really would love for something good to happen with One Punch Man moving forward into a third season, where it could actually be propelled and get back to that status that it had in season 1, because One Punch Man was a juggernaut, man. Like, I'll never forget where it was people that weren't even into anime, but they were like, yo, that One Punch Man, like, even Western comic book fans fans were into it because, again, it was like superhero filled and all this comedy and greatness in it. Like, people were flocking to it without even liking or caring for anime and manga as a medium. And not to mention all of the efforts that Yusuke Murata, the author of One Punch Man, has been putting in. Like he'll release chapters irregularly. Like, they're not necessarily the most scheduled. The schedule for One Punch Man is kind of all over the place, but he goes back, and that's why there's not really a schedule. He'll go back to like a chapter and feel like, oh, I didn't quite capture the art the way I wanted to, and he'll remake whole entire chapters, the art wise, just so that he can make it to his liking. That's really awesome and commendable in and of itself, and that shows the dedication that he has. And it just sucks that One Punch Man, where it's at right now, is just really stagnated and people just aren't into it. Again, on the anime side of things, the manga is just, it sounds incredible, the reveals that have been shown of characters that you've been dying to see. And this is one of those cases where I feel like, even though it has a fall from grace on the anime side of things, go read the manga and you should be fine. That's usually always the answer anyway. Just go read the manga, which I guess I need to take my own advice, right? I almost feel like One Punch Man could have kind of been sort of in a weird way saved if it would have had a similar situation to what's happening with Attack on Titan, because make no mistake about it, one of the biggest death blows to a franchise is when it's been animated by a reputable studio and then it gets moved over to another studio. However, Attack on Titan, despite some of the criticism that Studio Mappa has had for the 4th and final season, nevertheless, it's continued and kept up with its level of popularity. Now, there's a couple of differences between Attack on Titan and One Punch Man. For starters, Attack on Titan is like a serious story where you really get invested into things, and while One Punch Man does get serious at moments, like, you're not going to be as invested in One Punch Man as a story as you are going to be in Attack on Titan, because it's this long, really mysterious thing that you have to continue to watch to get some of the answers. But also, Attack on Titan, it kind of had a thing where, like, the story really was the thing that anchored it up. Like, you had season 1 had everybody hooked, and then they took a long break between season 1 and 2, and season 2 had a similar situation like what One Punch Man had with season 2, where there was a massive break in between, but the only difference was that Attack on Titan still had Wit Studio for season 2, and then with season 3 of Attack on Titan, the popularity skyrocketed even further because a lot of answers to the story. It almost felt like the story was ending with season 3, and that's where it kind of continued to maintain. And then, not to mention, where it left off with season 3, there were so many questions that you had that you kind of almost felt forced, like, nah, I gotta watch it, even if it's going to be a different studio. And because Studio Mappa right now, which is basically an offspring of Madhouse, a lot of their employees, a lot of their animators and whatnot just moved over to Mappa, it's still kind of in great hands. Like, it's this top studio right now. So, like, if One Punch Man, they was to say, you know what, JC staff, while they do great work most of the time, again, it was a little underwhelming for season 2 of One Punch Man, we're gonna take season 3 and we're gonna put it with, let's just say, Wit Studio, or we're gonna put them with Mappa, or Madhouse is gonna take it back. I think that could be something that would definitely revitalize the franchise in a bit, because I think one of the things people want to see is an all-out, beautiful visual fest for One Punch Man. I think that's definitely something that people want to see, and it's unfortunate that it seems like the studio thing is a big issue, and also the breaks between seasons. Like, right now, we're heading into a 3rd year in between season 2 and hopefully season 3 if we do even get it. But I'm very curious what you guys think. One Punch Man, the franchise as a whole, is there a way to bring it back to its once prominence that it had in season 1 in terms of the anime? Again, excluding the manga, because it does have its base and people really are going crazy for the manga. What would be the answers other than, you know, let's just say moving studios? Like, if Studio Mappa picked up One Punch Man, first of all, I would pray for those animators, because they already got their hands filled. Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, like, the list goes crazy when it comes to what Studio Mappa has. But what would be the answers to, I guess, saving One Punch Man moving forward with a season 3 and beyond? Or do you think it's dead in the water at this point? Like, there's no return, because going to a 3rd studio, not only does that sound a little crazy, but also it's already been we're going into a 3rd year of no One Punch Man anime, and, you know, season 2 was a big blow to the franchise's popularity. Do you think it's over with for One Punch Man? Again, on the Japanese side of things, at the very least, you gotta commend, like, yo, it's doing top 5 on TV Tokyo, despite the perception of One Punch Man being that it fell off. And your overall thoughts and expectations for One Punch Man? Regardless, it's an awesome series. Regardless, the manga goes crazy. Regardless, season 1 is legendary. Regardless, season 2 is underrated and overhated, because, yo, JC staff did alright. They did alright considering what they had and the time, the schedule that they had, probably when they got the actual announcement, like, hey, you guys are going to be animating One Punch Man from now on, and also you got to live up to these impossible expectations that Madhouse set forth. And just in general, show some love to One Punch Man, man. Like, I love this series, and just in general, show a little love to One Punch Man. It's been a rocky ride, to say the least, and it sucks to feel like it kind of fell from grace, and I would love to see it get back up again, because it's wild that My Hero and One Punch Man kind of started to take off around the same time, and My Hero Academia right now is like one of the biggest anime. It is the biggest selling manga in the West, and One Punch Man has kind of fizzled out over here. I would like to kind of restore the feeling when it comes to One Punch Man. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications, and if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day, peace in, and shout outs to One Punch Man. Hopefully a third season is incoming in the near future and can do something to kind of restore it to its once glory that it had with that first season. Have an awesome one.